Hello there. So this is a step away from my usual content because I was very lucky in that Brainseal gave me a review copy of Dark Quest 4. Now when I was younger, really enjoyed Hero Quest. As an adult, I thoroughly enjoy TTRPGs. Big fan of D&D, Orbital Blues. Um, the idea of cyberpunk, but the rulebook is very big and hurts my brain. So this is right up my street. Um, I really like turn-based games. I've put silly hours into the likes of XCOM 2. So I was very, very excited to play this. And as it turns out, I have had a great time with it. Okay, one of the first things I want to talk about is the art style. I absolutely adore it. It's been all hand painted and looks fantastic. Plus, I really love the little detail of the character's feet being on a base and how they move like a game piece, since this is meant to be simulating a board game. As well, around the map, I really enjoy all the little interactive bits, like the crystal ball reacting to tapping, the DM reacting if you poke at him and coming out with a voice line, or the skull's eyes following your mouse. Plus, if you look over on the right hand side, there's a Dark Quest rulebook, which I think is a fantastic addition. It all looks really good. I absolutely love it. It tickles that nostalgic tabletop nerd in me. I also need to say, full disclosure, I played about 2.5, 3 hours of this on stream. So that's why the footage you're seeing is from a little later in the game. But it gets the gist of how it plays quite nicely. You have 10 heroes overall, though to begin with, you only have 8. And then the other 2 you get through completing levels and rescuing them. Each one plays fairly differently. And one of the things I like is there is an exhaustion system. So you'll probably hear me compare this to Darkest Dungeon from time to time, because elements of it keep me in mind of that game, but on a much, much less punishing scale. Um, so if you use a character, they will get tired and have less health the next time if you want to use them again immediately. If they die in the dungeon, they become injured, and if you want to use them again immediately, they start at half health. And I love this system because games like this, it's very easy to get stuck with a particular playstyle and favorite units, but because you cannot use the same characters every single time, you don't get stuck with that, and you end up trying combinations that you maybe wouldn't have otherwise. It keeps the game from going stale, and I love that they've done that. I also like that none of the heroes feel the same. I mean, all their skills are fairly unique. Um, Even the wizard and the fire wizard, who are arguably fairly similar, they both have their own strengths. And I really enjoy that. It's nice having a different approach to missions, which adds the replayability as well. And then as you progress, you can use your gold to unlock new cards, which are your skills, bits from the blacksmith to buff certain things, potions. It's a really nice way of keeping each character fairly unique, but also giving you a bit of leeway with what build you want to do, what skills you want to bring into a battle. It's really well thought out. I love the characters in this, and it keeps me quite eager to experiment and play around with it. The dungeons, very core aspect of the game. As you load into each dungeon, your selected party will start in a room. Your vision will be limited to the room you're in, or rooms you've previously explored. As you open doors, you'll be able to see more of that particular floor, and that tends to be how you run into enemies. When I was playing on stream, I had a very bad habit of putting my ranged characters just opening doors and then going, oh no, there's enemies in here. My melee characters are over there. It's going to take them a turn or two to get into combat. So as you explore each dungeon, you will be met with various monsters. There's chests to loot to get gold that will let you upgrade your characters back at the home camp. There will be food tables that can provide a bit of much needed healing. And normally your goal is to find the exit stairs that will bring you to the next floor or out of the dungeon. In some levels it could be to kill a boss character, and in a few it will be to rescue one of the missing hero characters. Overall, I like the dungeons. The art style is fairly varied, so each dungeon doesn't feel identical, and they are quite fun to play through. Plus the whole what's going to be behind this next door is always very entertaining. So the combat in this, it is pretty much what you would expect from a turn-based game. When you enter combat, each character will be assigned a turn order. They can move and attack in a turn, but attacking will end your turn. If you're using a ranged character, or a character with ranged abilities, like the dwarf for example, can spawn barrels, or the prince can spawn his royal guard, you do need line of sight to the target, but after you've selected your target square, it will give you the option to move, and a nice little helpful red or green line to show whether or not that character has line of sight and can do the thing you want them to do. For melee characters, it's get into range and give your enemy a slap. Your abilities that you get from the trainer appear as cards below your character. The ones that are sort of grayed out, those are passive abilities. The others are active abilities that, for the most part, can only be used once per battle, unless you use an ability that refreshes that. But since the battles are fairly short, you can freely use away with them. You're not worried of, oh, I might need to save this ability for later. I really like the once per battle rather than once per dungeon approach. It means I'm not, oh, I might need this later, there might be something scary later, and then ending a dungeon with most of my abilities intact. Or, on the other end of it, going, oh, I need to use this, and then later on going, oh, I really wish I hadn't used it, this is so much worse without it. So the once per battle system, I really like. I also like the card system. The fact that they're cards sort of adds into that tabletop game aspect. The combat is very simple, but it does exactly what it needs to do to be entertaining. And the enemy variety is pretty great, even at my reasonably early stage of the game. It seems to introduce new enemies at a fairly consistent rate, so that you're not getting used to fighting the same things over and over, and you're having to learn how to counter different enemies. It's brilliant. So the music, it's good. It serves the purpose quite nicely. It's not in your face. It sits very nicely, setting the tone in the background. I really like it. I would not, admittedly, go and listen to it if I wasn't playing the game, but as background music for the game, it fits perfectly. As for the sound effects in the game, I quite like them. They're fairly simple. I really like the small touch of the little dragging sound as the character's moving, because of course they are all on base plates. The block sound in particular, when you block an attack, I really like. It's just something about that, thud on steel. It sounds great. That just tickles me in the right way. The only one that kind of bugs me, because there is one sound that bugs me a little bit, is as you transition from combat to out of combat, the sound just has me in mind of when you find a mini kit in Lego Star Wars. I know it's not quite the same sound, but it makes me think of it every single time it plays. But other than that, I like the sound design. It works. Yeah, I'm going to cut this bit out because I sound like a moron. I forgot what I was going to say. The game does have multiplayer. I have not actually had the chance to play it because none of my friends have got the game yet. But at a guess, I'd say each of the 3 players will be able to control one of the 3 hero party. And I like that idea. That would be a lot of fun because you are going to have to be communicating with your teammates. And it would be about as close as you can get to playing a tabletop game, which massively appeals to me as someone who has spent many, many hours playing tabletop games. One thing I've only briefly played with, but will definitely lengthen the lifespan of the game, there is a level creator built into the game. And if you've ever used RPG Maker, it's fairly similar, but a little bit simplified. And I'm a big fan of RPG Maker. I've spent a good 50-60 hours playing around with it. So it's really nice to have that choose your tile painted on system. It's really easy to use. If you want to wire up, say, a door, all you have to do is right click and then click on the door that you want that, say, lever to control. It's all very user friendly, very easy to do. If you hit F1, you can load into your level and test it out. And then you can, if you wish, release it on the workshop for other people to play. Workshop support, something I always love to see in a game. And because I thoroughly enjoyed this game, once I do get through the 30 levels, I will be downloading lots of workshop levels to continue to amuse myself for as long as possible. I can see me putting silly hours into the game because it has this. So in conclusion, I enjoy this game a lot. It's a fairly faithful adaptation of board game into PC game, and nothing is overly complicated. It's all rather straightforward. That's not like the likes of Darkest Dungeon, where it is punishingly difficult. There are difficult parts to the game, but it never feels like you're facing near impossible odds in the way Darkest Dungeon tries to do. So it's fairly easy to sit down for a couple of hours, half shut off my brain, and enjoy a fantasy video game. I really like that. And I would absolutely recommend this game to anyone that's fond of TTRPGs, especially the HeroQuest board game that this game was heavily inspired by. If you liked HeroQuest, you'll get a strong dose of nostalgia from playing this. All the characters fill their roles, the music is alright, the sound design is pretty good. The art style, I know I already said, is fantastic. I love that hand-painted aesthetic. and there is multiplayer. So if you have a couple of friends, hop onto a Discord call and spend an evening killing monsters and delving through dungeons. You'll have a great time. If you like turn-based, you like fantasy, this is worth checking out. So there isn't a huge amount more I can really say about the game. I would like to thank Brainseal very, very much for providing me a copy of the game and the many hours of entertainment that I'm going to get out of it. And thank you for watching. Hopefully see you in the next video or the next stream. Bye bye.